A very good afternoon to you and welcome to today's edition of the Flash News. I am Oyin Okbala. Well, by Monday, the United States will be having a new president. Well, today on the Flash News, we'll look at these and other reports just right after the break. Well, welcome back. By Monday, the United States will be having a new president. But before then, let's take a look at the happenings. Well, President Biden's final over office has given an emotional speech and inspiring farewell to the nation. Well, as he prepares to hand over power to President-elect Donald Trump, he reflected on his time in the office, highlighted the progress made in the rebuilding of the economy, creating jobs and advancing civil rights. He also emphasized the importance of defending democracy and the need for Americans to come together to protect it. Biden expressed his gratitude to the American people for the opportunity to serve and urged them to remember the idea of America, which is stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, and more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. He spoke about the significant laws he signed, including the climate law, gun safety law, and the law helping veterans expose toxic materials. Biden also mentioned his commitment to appointing the first Black woman to the Supreme Court and having an administration that looks like America. He thanked Vice President Kamala Harris for her partnership and leadership and reminded Americans that the choice for the country's future is now in their hands. Let's get that excerpt.
And will be largely the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities. One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history. From new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs.
Well, Biden's speech was a call to action, urging Americans to keep faith in the idea of America and to work together to preserve democracy. He ended his speech by saying, "We are the United States of America, and there is simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together." Meanwhile, in a press conference last week, Trump announced that he had deployed personnel on the ground in the Middle East to negotiate the release of hostages by Hamas. He warned all hell will break loose if the hostages are not released by, in quote, my inauguration. Let's get that.
Hostages aren't back. I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. There should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply.
Now, as Biden begins his farewell address, he takes credit for the ceasefire negotiation between an agreement that has been reached and the release of the hostages. Let's get that.
The world, thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and your families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief. And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, the historic Vice President. She and Doug have become like family. And to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who's with me in the Oval today. For our entire family. You're the love of my life and the lives of my love. My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word. I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to stand guard.
So emotional there. Well, our question is, who deserves the credits? Did Trump threats make it easier for Biden's team to negotiate successfully? Who should be acknowledged for achieving these milestones after several months of conflict? Critics are questioning why it took Biden until the end of his administration to accomplish this. In the upcoming days, as we process their detail to see how the dynamics play out, Biden had much more to say about the transition and promised to have his team work very closely with Trump's team in the regard. While the civility of democratic behaviors in full displays will be seen, well, Monday is just 2 days away. We await all of this. We still hear that there are so many leaders who will be attending the inauguration. We'll definitely give you all the updates. Meanwhile, in Amazonia, traditional rulers are at dagger drawn with colonial administration. So the presidents of the House and vice presidents of the Colonial Regional Assembly in Bamenda says their positions as the custodians of the tradition are being threatened by the colonial administrative style of the colonial institution. The Colonial Regional Assembly in Bamenda at inception came under criticism as just another institution of the colonial regime to further harm the people of Amazonia. Well, according to His Royal Highness, former Yakun Kevin Tuver, the Fonts are not enjoying their constitutional rights as the president of the Colonial Regional Assembly. Through 114 conserves power to him and enjoys all its benefits. In his words, it says, "It is sad to know that we have been gathered here to be ridiculed and our status as traditional authorities threatened. For all you know, Foyank Calvin added that the role of the traditional rulers as the executive arm of the Colonial Regional Assembly, as stipulated by the law on special status, is being neglected, with for Ngwafor weighing all executive powers, therefore, and thereby challenging the very purpose of the special status. To the fund, the opinion of the funds are not considered during general deliberation. What's still, the funds are not even aware of the conditions under which their food is being prepared and conserved. An abomination to the tradition of the people of the Midland Zone and Savannah Zone of the Federal Republic of Amazonia. As traditions demand, the food eaten by the fund is cooked under special condition by special people and conserved and served differently, a privilege that the colonial regime through the Colonial Regional Assembly is trying to undermine. The Colonial Regional Assembly is one of the institutions created by the colonial regime of Paul Biya after the monologue held in Yaoundé. Well, according to the colonial regime, which is of course not true, it was created to dissolve a certain degree of autonomy for the people of Amazonia to champion their development. At inception, the Colonial Regional Assembly gave the Amazonia a special status and came under heavy criticisms. The recent outing of the funds, who formed a considerable faction of the institution, only further exposed the Colonial Regional Assembly of course and more harm than good to the people of former British Southern Cameroons. The funds boycotted the 2025 budgetary session of the Assembly and have promised hell if the Colonial Regional Assembly, president greatly influenced by the Colonial Assembly, does not give them their deserved place. Well, let's see how much more that is. Meanwhile, evil continues to trend as a newborn baby is being rescued from a pit toilet still in Amazonia. On the 15th of January 2025, a newborn baby was found in a pit toilet in Bokwango in Boya. The baby had been dumped there by a lady, its mother, who gave birth alone earlier that day. The rescue started when a student going to use their restroom around 6:30 a.m. heard the baby's cry. He quickly told his mother, whose name we got as Dorothy Nkamisong, a pooper, who ran to help using a flashlight. She found the baby lying in waste inside the pit. Dorothy called for help and soon neighbors gathered to figure out how to rescue the baby. They decided to use a stick and rope to carefully pull the baby out. To their relief, their efforts were not in vain and they found that it was a boy still connected to his umbilical cord. Once the baby was out, they placed him on a clean sack. Local school children brought one water to clean him, and nearby women provided clothes to keep him warm. Dorothy and another neighbor, Hannah Banner Ndever, took the baby to the Boya Regional Hospital for medical care. And reports getting to us has it that the baby is doing well, as is being reported. Well, witnesses reported that while the community cared for the rescued baby, its mother appeared shocked and upset amongst the crowd. Colonial police discovered blood traces leading from the pit toilet to a nearby house and learned that the mother had gone to work before the investigation began. A lady living with the suspect texted the father expressing concern about her sister, who appeared flat-bellied despite showing signs of pregnancy. Well, the father then took the suspect from her workplace, where an examination confirmed her involvement. She admitted to abandoning the baby, claiming the child's father denied the pregnancy. She's currently in custody at the Boya Colonial Central Police Station. Well, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the Flash News. Remember, at the top of the hour, 8 p.m., we will be having this week on Amazonia with Tapa the King and the barristers in the house. Do well to join that conversation by 8 p.m. Amber time. Until then, do have a wonderful day.